Hi, and welcome to the onboarding videos for Breadwinner. You can watch this if you're an admin, a consultant, a partner, anybody who wants to know a little bit more about Breadwinner for NetSuite. So let's dive in and take a look at the data flow. Uh, One of the things that people notice right away is that we have a whole bunch of tabs across the top, and these tabs are traditional Salesforce objects installed as part of the managed package. And one of the resources you can go to is docs.breadwinner.com. From there, you can click on NetSuite. And if you want to have a better understanding of the object structure, we have it all mapped out. So you saw before I was on a NetSuite company. Let's try to find that. And here we go. NetSuite company contains customers and vendors. This is the Salesforce side, and you'll see a dotted line. And what that means is that this is going to grab all of the NetSuite customers out of NetSuite. And this is the NetSuite side. So if you were to go to a NetSuite org, you'll of course find NetSuite customers, and it's Breadwinner's job to bring in those NetSuite customers and vendors. We put them in a single object called NetSuite companies. And here you go. This is a NetSuite customer. This is perfectly replicated data. This is not iframed. This is not a connected app. This is not somehow outside of Salesforce. Now you will notice that we present this in a nice manner, but if you were to go add no override, you would have bypassed our Visualforce and Lightning override pages, and you're looking at the raw data. And this is what's underneath. This is why you can build reports and dashboards and views. You can build flows so that when something in NetSuite changes, something else in Salesforce can fire. It is Breadwinner's job to make sure that all of the data in NetSuite is replicated over to Salesforce. And we sync anywhere, depending on how you've configured it, from every 5 to every 15 minutes. And we'll tell you right here, this NetSuite customer is accurate as of 3 minutes ago. And if you really want to, you could check to see if it's been updated since then. So we consider every 5 minutes close enough to live to call this live. Now, this NetSuite customer will have as well all of the sales orders, invoices, all of that other rich data you might want out of NetSuite. And you don't have to do anything to bring in this data once everything's connected. We're going to bring in the data. You're going to get the sales orders. You're going to get the line items. If that sales order turned into an invoice, you're going to get the invoice. All of the information in NetSuite that is contained in these objects has the potential to be brought over. And the level of which we get this is very granular. So even for these line items, we could link to the individual line item, which contains quantity 3 and any custom rate. We can also jump to the actual item. And this is going to be a live, within 5 to 15 minutes, copy of the NetSuite item, including a lot of complicated information, including the NetSuite master pricing, all of the different currencies that NetSuite has. And if this is a physical object or has any level of inventory, we're going to bring that in with the locations. All of this is going to be brought in. You can control that during the initial setup. Here I am in the Breadwinner for NetSuite tab. This has already been set up, and once you first connect, which is going to be this step, you're going to be given the chance to decide what NetSuite objects do I want brought in. Most customers will want pretty much everything, but it's also typical for people to say, you know what, I don't need my vendors, which will take away accounts payable and purchase orders. So at this moment, you'll still have the object. You'll still have the object for all of that, but it'll be blank and no data will be brought in. The other thing we allow you to do is to bring in data by subsidiary. You might say, you know what, the Salesforce org has nothing to do with the Australian subsidiaries, or in fact, any of the kind of accounting subsidiaries. So if you do this, we're only going to bring in, say, customers from India and Ireland, but not customers from Australia. And we'll never bring in vendors or purchase orders or accounts payable. So this is the top level deciding on the objects, and the left side is deciding on the subsidiaries. A couple more questions you might have. What about this? Well, when we bring in a brand new NetSuite company, what do you want us to do with that? We could match it to a Salesforce account, but we recommend you start off with do not match. And hey, uh, what about this section? Some of our customers will even want us to auto create a new Salesforce account from a new NetSuite company. Again, we recommend you leave this at do not create until you're more certain about what you want to do, but this will handle what you're bringing in. And finally, some people say, hey, I only want to bring in certain ones, let's say invoices after a certain date. That is possible. It's more complicated, but there's a way to write some additional queries to control that. What we usually say is, unless you have a tremendous amount of data, it's best just to bring in everything, and that way when you do roll-ups like total customer lifetime value, you get accurate data. One of the questions we also get asked a lot is, hey, how do I edit this data? Now, there's a couple answers to this, but if you were to go to your finance team and say to them, hey, can I have a login to NetSuite? I feel like editing some sales orders, or maybe I want to edit some invoices. You'll quickly find that your finance team does not want to give you this because this is considered very protected financial data. They might be happy with you looking at it, but they're certainly not going to be happy with you editing it. So the short answer is this is treated as read-only data for you to run reports and dashboards and enable your company on, but you're not going to be editing it. Now, I'll touch on creation in a couple seconds, but generally speaking, your finance team is not going to want you going in here and just changing an invoice date. That could cause all sorts of problems. So treat this as read-only data, and I will show you how we handle the creation and editing in another video. A little bit more about this data. We are going to bring in this data not just during the initial sync, but unless you have a particularly large amount of data, we are in fact going to be overwriting this data every single week. So all of the data we bring in from NetSuite can be overwritten. In fact, if for whatever reason you decide that you need to overwrite it, we even allow you to do that on a per object or an entire per org basis. All of this data, remember, is going to be isolated in the Breadwinner objects, so we're not going to end up overwriting your accounts or your opportunities. So should you want to, you could even restart the weekly sync, which usually runs on a Friday or Saturday, to bring in all of the data. Okay, so just to wrap this up, it is Breadwinner's job to bring in all of the NetSuite companies, contacts, estimates, anything you've configured on the initial sync. You can see what we're bringing in up here, which is a large amount. Because we're bringing this in to our own objects, it's possible for us to do this without you doing any configuration. I'll touch on custom fields in another video. And out of the box, usually within about an hour or two of configuration, and sometimes leaving this to run overnight or longer, all of this data is going to be filled in. And for some of our customers, that's enough. They just want to see all of their NetSuite accounts receivable, accounts payable, RMAs, credit notes, packages, inventory pricing, and that's their end goal. Others are going to want to write back to NetSuite, and I'll cover that in another video. Thank you.